Hey, my name is Alexei. In this video, I'll talk about how you can wire yourself on being positive, how to wire yourself to be positive and to have as a result of that also a better life and better outcomes. I just recently had this spontaneous idea because I noticed how I was back then way more negative and I started to become positive. And I also just realized what helped me with that and also what just didn't help me with that. So you have first to know humans. So we humans, we have something like an emotional home. And what do I mean with that? It means that we have certain emotions and we keep coming back to these emotions. And for everyone, it's different. For example, for me, it was in the past that anger was an emotional home for me. And that means that even if I won't be angry at the moment, I will keep coming back to that later because it was so familiar for me. I was conditioned to experience this emotion. And I talk to myself very often like that, like, yeah, I'm very often angry and fuck this shit and yeah, fuck off. The key lies here in the I am very often like that. This described back then my identity. So it's about how you describe yourself into what kind of emotions are you keep coming back. Just observe mindfully over the day and over the week what kind of emotions do you experience on average, you know. And back then I even used stuff like journaling and meditation, and I I think I was writing down every day my wins. Yeah, I was writing down my wins every day, right? And I kept also doing all other things like making sports. But a lot of people say this help you to become more positive. It's a little bit true. It helped me a little bit, but it's not completely true. Because think about it. If you write down now, for example, what you're thankful for, then you will probably experience thankfulness in this moment, right? But you don't want just to experience this feeling in this moment, but actually what we want is to experience this feeling continuously, right? So always, again, we want to have these positive emotions again. So why it didn't work out? Why didn't I have become way more positive because of this stuff? It's because I didn't change myself on an identity level. Even though I made a lot of this stuff, I never described myself as a positive person. And because of that, my emotional level was still low. Okay, I was wired to be connected to these lower emotions, like anger, for example. And the thing that helped me is when I started actually to describe myself as positive, and when I just ask myself the question, okay, so what is evidence that I'm a positive person? And at first it was difficult to find evidence, but after a while, I noticed, wait a moment. I mean, I make personal development, I meditate, and I look for positive things in life. I focus on my goals. Like, this is actually positive, yeah. Okay. And the other thing that I made is when I was angry, I focused to accept it and let it go. I started to accept it and not to lose myself in that, but just becoming aware of that and accept it. And I stopped to describe myself in that way, like I'm always like that. I'm very often I feel like that, or I'm very often this way. So I reduced the generalization slowly. I started actually by talking to myself like, actually, I'm not very often like that. Yeah, maybe one time a day. Yeah, I felt a couple of times a day like that. And later I reduced it even more like, yeah, I just feel that like every 2 or 3 days I felt a little bit angry. And then I reduced it even more like, okay, actually I don't even feel that angry anymore. You know, I just talk to yourself. You you start to talk to yourself differently. You stop the generalization. Instead of saying, I'm always like that about negative things, try to expand it about the positive things. try to use these generalizations in a positive way, like I'm always positive. And when it comes to the negative stuff, reduce that and find evidence that it's true, that you're really very often not like that. And the more you focus on that and practice that, the more it will reduce. So instead of saying yourself like I'm always like that, or you fail very often, or whatever, try to find actually evidence that is not always true. That is not really absolute every time like that. And by doing that, you will weaken your beliefs. And now I will explain to you again why it didn't work out also when I was writing down my wins. It's not a bad thing to write down your wins and meditate, but why it didn't work out for me to become more positive. Because this is just a habit that I do in this one moment when I write it down. But when I change my identity, this is what it's all about. When I change my identity, when I become a new person, this is an internal habit. I will find evidence that I'm thankful and positive every time over the day. So I will just find it over the day again. It just happens at some point subconsciously. I don't even have to do something for that. I don't even have to do a habit for that. I can literally just take a walk and I find something positive because it's internally. But when I just have this habit and I'm still the old person, then it's externally. So I'm still the old same person that tries to be positive. Don't try to be positive. Just decide to be like that. Don't try to do it. Whenever you think like, I try to do that, I try to be that, don't focus on your future self. Instead, allow yourself to be right now like that. Start to describe slowly more and more that you are right now like that. And find evidence in your life by asking yourself the question, what is the evidence that I am already like that? What is evidence that you are right now already like that? And the most important part is also when you find this evidence is that you feel it emotionally. So find evidence where you feel it emotionally, not something that just sounds rationally, clever, but where you feel resonance emotionally, because then the beliefs start to change. And the other thing is, this is what I talked multiple times about in other videos, is that you let go of your emotions. You let go of your emotions and you decide how you want to feel instead. Okay, so how do you want to feel instead? For me, I noticed that my future self, when I was thinking of my future self, that my future self feels a lot playfulness, and I call it ambition. I think it's an emotion if I will describe it as motivation. Okay, so playfulness and motivation, for example, these are the emotions that I wire myself on, that I experience every day. And how do I do that? For example, through visualization. When you visualize that you are right now already like that, I made also, by the way, other videos about visualization. I will link it for you and the letting go video. So when you describe yourself when you start to visualize already that you are right now like that, then you experience that instantly. You are already that person, you feel it emotionally. When I will start right now to visualize my future self, then I feel the emotion already right now. And this is how you wire yourself, how you condition yourself to be that kind of person. By visualizing that you are already right now, by making the process visualization. Process visualization is simply if you focus that you are already like your future self in the process. So for example, if you take a walk, you walk like your future self. You literally just visualize it for 10 seconds and you focus on the emotion and you walk like your future self. And by doing that, you condition yourself already to be like that kind of person, And this is how you slowly become more and more positive. And as a result, because you see that you start to change and it gets reflected in the outer world, the outer world will reflect it back to you. So more positive things will happen. Change in your life will happen. You will have more energy available, because obviously it drains out if you experience more negative emotion than positive emotion. So energy starts to be available, and then we have more energy to create something new. And besides this, if you expect better outcomes in life or something positive, like for example, think on an optimist or a pessimist. The pessimist expects that bad things will happen. Some pessimists call themselves also realists. Very often they are also pessimists, and they say how the world is bad and everything is just bad, and there's anyway no chance to change that. If we focus on that, then it will become reality and we won't change anything. And the optimist, he focuses on what is positive, that it's possible to have a better life, and as a result of that, he will find evidence for that as a self-fulfilling prophecy, and he will have better results in life, a better emotional home. So I will repeat it again. Just look, how is your emotional home right now? Usually there are like 2 or 3 emotions that you experience on average very often. Just observe what is your emotional home. Usually these are the emotions you feel on average. Start to become aware of that by start to let go of this emotion. And then look how you talk about yourself. Maybe that you are that kind of person, or that you are a person like how I described myself back then. You are a person who is very often pissed or angry. And then start to question that. Just simply start to question that, this belief, what is absurd about it, and start to focus especially even more on your new identity. Start to find evidence, what is positive about it, about what is positive that you are like your future self right now. You know, what is evidence that you are right now like your future self? Yeah, exactly. Okay. And you can also use visualization to be connected to your future self, to become like your future self right now. I've made a lot of videos, by the way, about how get clarity on your emotional level, and how to find out how you want to be. I mean, how to find out more about your future self, and how you can change your identity. You can check them out as well. I will link them. Okay, I hope this helped you. And this is, by the way, the reason why habits very often alone don't help you. You need internal habits as well. So you need to do something internally and externally as well in combination. If you just focus on external stuff, it won't help if you don't change your identity. If you are that kind of person, if you are a positive person, then you experience every time something positive. You don't even have to try it or to journal or to meditate. It will just happen. I'm sure you know also at least a couple of people, maybe they don't even know about meditation or personal development. They are just happy. They're just optimists. It's because how they were conditioned, you know, and how they describe themselves. It's because how they are just wired and conditioned, and because of the way how they talk about themselves. And this is why they are how they are. Probably they don't even have habits like meditation or stuff like that. So they just do it unconsciously. So this is, I want just to say, this is the proof that it's actually, this is the proof that our identity is way stronger than just a habit. You change yourself when you create a new identity, and not when you just make a habit and write down for 2 minutes what is positive about your life. Even though this is also good as well. Okay, if this video helped you, subscribe to my YouTube channel that you don't miss out on the video, and comment below, how do you want to be? So how do you want to be, or what is your emotional home, and how do you want that your emotional home becomes? Okay, see you next time. Bye bye.